And so we continue our descent just below 4,000 reviews with the gem in the making, MineMogul. Here you build an underground mining operation where everything obeys the laws of physics and deliver your products to an elevator to earn money so that you can buy more gear. But you also do quests in the form of specific orders to deliver, which gives you research tickets, enabling you to unlock new technology, more advanced machines to help your logistics, and make more expensive products. There are a few very appealing touches to the game. The physics can give rise to glorious chaos, when everything falls everywhere and or mixes in unintended ways to give surprising results. I like that you have a magnet to grab stuff around, throw them or drop them. It can be set to different modes in order not to take things from belts or baskets, for example. Every place where you can put an ore miner can actually deliver multiple kinds of ore, each with a probability percentage. So you have to sort them if you want to be the most efficient, which multiplies the spaghetti. There's a whole network of caves to explore, to find more room and resources for your automation, of course, but also to uncover secrets, shortcuts to blow up, etc. This early access sandbox is already packed with content and doesn't feel like an early access. There's a demo, thank you devs, to make sure of that by yourself. This is more than promising, it's overwhelmingly positive on Steam, I like it a lot, 100% spaghetti fun. Now we are walking a fine line between factory games and programming games. To me this one is still worthy of this iceberg, but might be controversial. Tell me what you think in the comments. And of course it's a Zachtronics game, Shenzhen I. It has the same puzzle structure as a lot of their games, with levels demanding to find a solution to a specific production request, and the result being measured in terms of cost, power usage and lines of code. But here, what you have to produce is a signal. You have an input and must transform it to conform your output, hence the I/O part of the title, input-output. For that sake, you have different kinds of devices available that you link together, with some where you can type actual code in, and that's a big part of the game. But without a correct linking of modules, it's worthless. So as you see, there's still machines that help transform your input into the desired product. It's not pure programming. Your input is your miner, your devices are your refiners, and the links between them are your conveyor belts. It's indeed walking the thin line between genres, and it's as far as we'll go towards programming games. But the most important is that this game is very good. There's more than one solution to every problem, it's very creative and it's beautiful. When you launch the game, it's made as if you logged into the specific operating system of your company from the famous business district of Shenzhen in China. The levels come in your emails, which is also how the story is told. There's a manual made like a company operations manual, giving you the rundown of the programming language and explaining the different devices. You don't have to read it all, just what you need when you need it. And it's Zachtronics, so of course there's a solitaire game on the side. I don't know if it burned my brain or made me smarter, but I couldn't stop playing it at the time. This is pure genius, highly recommended, and also, please, RTFM. I remember this one to be good, but not that good. It wants to be cute, but it's also a little weird. Autonauts. This is automation heaven, and it's done through robots. Yes, you have to program them, but in a very different and easier way than actual programming. Basically, you show the robot what it has to do by pressing record and doing the task while it watches, and the very visual code writes itself. Most of the time, you will then make it loop under some conditions and sometimes add some refinements if needed. So it's easy to grasp and use. And the tutorials are plenty. The robots have a memory limit, a number of lines of code that can be upgraded later, like all their parts. Absolutely everything can be automated that way. Everything you can do, they can do. And there's a lot of parts to the game. Now, is it a factory builder? There are production lines for everything, yes, but the goal is not the factory itself. It's either evolving your colony in settlement mode or in enlightenment mode, evolving your colonists. They're called folks. Those people, told you it was weird. And in exchange for what they need, they give you WOV, which is used to fuel research, to get more things to produce and means to advance on the evolution ladder. I'm not usually drawn by that kind of cutesy art style, but just beyond that is a very addictive game where there's always something to do, something new to automate, something to improve. A lot of content and constant progression, and it just feels good to play. It grabbed me back in when I replayed it. It's peaceful, there's no adversity in the game, but if you like that, there's a follow-up called Autonauts vs Pirate Bots where they added combat. So whether you like the style or not, this is a strong recommendation. I'm under the impression that this next one flew a little under the radar, but even given its name, it shouldn't be your second choice, Plan B Terraform. Here you have to terraform a planet which is to be our plan B for Earth. The first products you'll make each step are the buildings you need, which will go directly in your shortcut bar, no need to store them, straight from the assembly plant to your pocket. I like that convenience. You can limit their production not to deplete resources unnecessarily. Then the main mean of progression is to feed your cities with what they need, so that they can grow, and population thresholds unlock new technologies and buildings. These thresholds are clearly defined by levels to reach, giving you clear goals to guide you, another great point. You will first have to emit greenhouse gases to warm up the atmosphere, then the ice will start to melt, and you'll have to deal with the water with dams, pumps, and later managing terrain elevation, and then you'll be able to spread vegetation and get enough oxygen for animals, and you can take control of them. This feeds into your city's increasing needs, with the ultimate goal being to reach 1 million citizens. But you can continue to play after that. There are claims of going into the billions with unlimited resources. It goes until your PC crashes, I guess. There's no combat, you have to put defenses up at some point, but that's it. So overall, it can be pretty relaxing, which the art style adds to. I realize it's the same team who did Dig or Die, more of a Terraria-like tower defense game, also great, so I wonder what they have in store next. I can't wait to have the time to play this more. A great sleeper hit. No, this is not a Satisfactory clone. This is much more. This is Foundry. The big twist is that you are on a virtually infinite procedurally generated world made of voxels like in Minecraft. So the ground is destructible and you can dig and build everywhere at any height. This screams freedom and replayability. With that in mind, you will start to automate your production to produce science and progress in the tech tree, but also one of your first big goals will be to restore the space station above. This will allow you to get into trading, because you have a debt to pay at first before profiting. You can initially sell to passerbys, but there's also the galactic market where you can buy and sell and automate trading through spaceships. Eventually, you will assemble full robots and make huge profits with them. So it's a huge game, it's been in early access in 2024 and it's in a very advanced state. There's multiplayer over the internet or even a good old LAN. You can also make dedicated servers. Although it has a pretty good 3000 plus reviews, I'm very surprised this is not higher in the Iceberg given the quality and the scope. It may have been overshadowed as it launched in early access when Satisfactory was nearing 1.0. But also, let's keep in mind that there are still things to improve and add, so hopefully it grows in popularity with time and patches because it could become a solid contender for the visible part of the Iceberg. This next one is not about pizza, nor about your eyes in the morning, the Crust. We're seeing more and more of this kind of games combining factory and colony builder. You'll have to colonize the moon by establishing production lines, habitats, and then taking care of your colonists' needs, who will help and boost your productions, all the while researching new technology to do so. You build on 2 floors, the surface and the underground to excavate. Each has its role. For example, your solar panels on the surface will provide energy while the mining will be done underground. Not everything can be built on both levels. The day-night cycle is important as a lunar night lasts at least 14 Earth days, so you have to charge your batteries accordingly. And you can make expeditions like in Frostpunk. There's a market to sell and buy resources, buildings, but you can also get extra science points from your company, the well-named The Crust. And there's a banking system. In the campaign story, you'll have decisions to make and hopefully save Earth doing all of the above. And the sandbox mode is customizable. All in all, it's a very interesting game, pretty in-depth, very enjoyable as an early access, and it looks good. But it still lacks some quality of life features. For example, we could use more shortcuts for many things, and the ability to move buildings instead of having to destroy them would be convenient. But the game is updated regularly, and the devs seem to take community feedback to heart. They even have a website for suggestions, so we can be confident it will see much refinement in the future and get even better. To some, this is a disappointment and abandonware. To others, it was honorably completed. Techtonica. You're building and automating a 3D factory in this eerie subterranean environment, full of weird alien vegetation, while discovering what happened to the ones who were here previously. It's an alternative to Satisfactory with its very own flavor, setting and look, and so it had the public's attention. But then, a few things happened. The more free-form structure of exploration was changed for a fixed one. Now the game is separated into floors. You have to climb up to reach the exit by building in each, essentially meeting higher and higher technology requirements. This change was divisive, but not as controversial as the final one. The dev team ran out of money and decided to finish the game however they could. They released 1.0 and that was the end of the story, no more update ever again. So of course some bugs remain. The end game can be laggy, and some say the last floors have been padded to be grindy to artificially increase the length of the game, choosing the easy route for rushing the 1.0 release, dropping the ball and undermining the fun. On the other side, it's argued that the game was actually finished and never abandoned. The devs did what they could to release a complete game with what they had. And it's dozens of hours of content with an actual ending, even if unsatisfying for some. In these conditions, the full price might seem a little high, but it was deeply discounted before, and it's also on Game Pass, where 1 month of subscription would cost you less anyway, so that could be a good alternative. Tell me in the comments where you stand on the matter. Personally, I think it's still very worth it to try it for yourself. The next game has quite an history and is history, and will answer this question. FortressCraft Evolved. At first there was FortressCraft Chapter 1, released on Xbox 360 in 2011 to show that doing something like Minecraft was possible on that platform, and it became a bestseller. Then a new version transitioned to PC in early access in 2013, fully released in 2015 and continued to evolve until 2019 to give the mix of factory building, tower defense and voxel creative goodness that is FortressCraft Evolved. You crash on the planet and have to set up complex infrastructures to defend, build and survive, doing the mix of genres before everyone else. It's surprising that it's with this outstanding game that we plunge under 3000 reviews. I think it's the sign of a different era of gaming, where a lot was different and a game like that would get way more reviews today by default. Maybe that's the price of being ahead of its time. Also, this is not an easy game to get into. There's a lot to absorb and the interface is not the most user-friendly, while how the system works wasn't that standardized at the time, and so it feels unique and different compared to other games. But if you go over that hump, it delivers and it can be hundreds of hours of fun for you and your friends. Currently, the dev is working on a reimagining of the game improved in all aspects called FortressCraft Phoenix. It states in the description that it's the third iteration of the game that invented the factory genre. This is a bold claim, but anyway, let's hope for the best. And it's always a good time to revisit this classic. Here is the very first Zachtronics game released on Steam back in 2011, SpaceChem. This is a game about breaking and reassembling molecules to fit the requested product. It's a puzzle game with a level-based structure, but you can break the work into multiple little factories called reactors that you link with pipes, which gives it more of a factory builder feel. In each reactor you have inputs and outputs and 2 waldos that you can program to grab, drop, rotate, activate the bonding tools, etc. on the respective paths you design for them. It's mind-bending as you have to work within the limited possibilities you get and an uncommon way of thinking, but that's what makes it so captivating and rewarding. There's a story and you can measure your performances compared to other players in terms of cycle, reactors used and symbols used. It lacks some modern features like high resolution, but it's pretty cheap and there's a demo. And if you like these kinds of game, you can't go wrong with this one. It's 50 levels of pure neuron pleasure or torture. Is this the first big flop of this iceberg, or was it just misunderstood? Automation Empire. Here you have to supply a certain average of products exported over 3 months. Exportation makes you money, but you also need the products to feed research to be able to improve your factory and meet the goal. So it's a balance. There are inside and outside buildings, which forces you to make dedicated plants, giving more of a real-life look to your installations. At the time of release, people wanted to compare it to Factorio, but it's very different. It's map-based, and so it's more of a puzzle to solve under different constraints each time. It's argued that it can be repetitive, but each map difficulty grows, and so does your own efficiency. Blueprints are missing though, and it lacks a real tutorial, which did put off many people. Others say it's part of coming up with your own solution and experimenting. The fact that there weren't many updates before they stopped completely 1 year after release also rubbed people in the wrong way. However, it's still 65% positive reviews on Steam. It's really a love it or hate it situation. So no, it's not a flop, it's its own take on the genre. I'd say get it on sale and see how it works for you. A few very special mentions thanks to nice viewers. Factorio was heavily influenced by Minecraft mods, mainly Buildcraft and Industrial Craft. The ultimate modern equivalent is the modpack GregTech New Horizons. It's a huge rabbit hole I don't have time to get into, but it's incredibly extensive and detailed, and a must try if you like Minecraft and factory builders. And this concludes this tier of the Iceberg, just before dropping below 2500 reviews. If you like this and don't want to miss the next ones, subscribe and put on the notifications. You can watch the existing episodes here. Thank you for watching, and don't forget,
the factory must grow.